What's happening YouTube? So, after last night, insanely extraordinary, incredible win, incredible comeback against the Washington Wizards, we literally have to fly all the way down to Orlando, Florida to face against the Orlando Magics. And this was another pretty good win. Like, look, I get it, it's the Orlando Magics. The record does not look so exciting and all this stuff. But hey, it was a pretty good win nevertheless. So in the first quarter, the Orlando Magic brought some energy basically in the first 3 minutes. Wendell was, being a really athletic power forward slash big man. A shout out to Wendell because he's a really mobile, versatile player to play defense against. It could be first thing you know, it could be a big, then it could be against guards. He's pretty good for any small ball lineups, or if you want to make a twin tower lineup. So again, pretty good, pretty young, solid player for Orlando. And then the second half, they pretty much, I believe they got all the momentum stuff, and we were down 14. I kind of lost track on when exactly we were down by 14. But then the third quarter, we pretty much showed some fight. Even at the last part of the second quarter, we brought some fight. But throughout all the game, we were always in the game. We were not being so bad, we just shouldn't be because it's the Orlando Magic. Then the third quarter, that's when we brought in all the energy. And then the fourth quarter, that's when things just kept getting better and better and better. And we eventually took the beautiful W. Now, as I usually do, I'm going to try my best to go player by player. Of course, unfortunately, I might forget to mention a particular player, but I'll do my best. So, Reggie Jackson, what I noticed is he got limited playing time, that's actually pretty unusual. But at the same time, that's pretty good because Tyronn Lue is showing a lot of signs of adjusting and all this stuff. Like Reggie Jackson, as much as I love Action Jackson, his big weakness is he would tend to ISO more often as you would like him to. But nevertheless, if he's on, it's clutch time. But lately, because last night he was, definitely not really good, unfortunately. This game he did better, but I believe he went for 3 for 11 if I believe I checked a little bit of the box scores, but he pretty much kind of got limited playing time, but it was better than last night, I guess. Gotta give him that. Ivica Zubac, again, he was way better than last night, but the first 3 quarters he was kind of getting through foul troubles and all the stuff. He didn't really, do too much, but in the last quarter, he kind of, stepped it up a bit. I guess he made some shots and also, made some free throws. I know Zubac, he's also kind of a swing player. Sometimes, he's kind of he's not the most mobile, big, and all that. But if there's one thing that we gotta give props to Zubac is his free throws. His free throws were always pretty good, but there's always a big room of improvement for Ivica Zubac. And then Nick Batum. Big shout outs to Nick Batum. He was the Batum battalion, like how we know. He was pretty much he was the French bayonet. He was swishing them timely threes. He was, again, he was being Nick Batum. He was being a a spot up 3-point specialist. Definitely sparked some energy in the first half and all of that. Pretty much did his thing. And then we got Amir Coffee. Big, fat shout out to Amir Coffee. Like, look, I know I said in the past video, but man, it's unbelievable like how Amir Coffee grew. Like last year, I messed with Amir, but like in the beginning of the season, I was kind of cause I had my huge let's just say fandom for Brandon Boston Jr. and Jay Scrubs. So I was questioning why Amir was getting minutes, but now I'm starting to find out. We all are starting to find out why Amir was getting minutes because Ty Lue saw something in him, and eventually Amir Coffee is definitely going to be our key for our future, and it's probably going to be a Clipper for a little while, to say the least. And Amir Coffee, he was basically pretty darn good. Like I forgot exactly how many points he got, but he shot a pretty efficient. I believe it was like 40 or 50% from the 3-point line. I believe. Brought all the energy, played pretty good defense, um, and he got like 6 whopping assists. See, that like Amir Coffee, like he's showing a lot of his big plus sides because like Amir Coffee could definitely run point guard. Like honestly, because I seen like a lot of time when Amir Coffee just ran to play a decent amount of times because like the Clippers like we may not have I may have like a so quote unquote maybe the truest point guard like compared to other teams, but again like we have a lot of players that could definitely take the point guard role at times, and Amir Coffee is like the perfect well suited guy to you know run the ball, and he does pretty solid to good at it because he does not really make a lot of mistakes. He's pretty much like he plays with good solid to good IQ, and it showed because like even when Amir Coffee was not getting so-called much assists um, on some nights, he still is a good passer if you actually watch the Clippers games because his passing is pretty good to say the least. And also considering he's 6'8", pretty versatile, can play. He can play the point, he can play the 2, he can play the 3, he can play the power forward, and that's a big plus to have. Like it really is, and literally like a lot of us, including me, was questioning why he was getting minutes over players like Brandon Boston and my boy Jay Scrub. I'll talk about my boy Jay Scrub later on, but yeah, Amir just continues to keep like making a big fat improvement. Like big props to Amir Coffee. And then we got Luke Canard. Luke Canard, ever since he definitely just ascended to a killer clutch player. He he had he had 17 points, which is pretty impressive. Got some nice, beautiful threes. Um, also, he also like improved on a good amount of things too. One thing is especially defense. Like Luke Canard, he's not the most perfect guy on defense, but now he's not no longer like you know compared to last year because last year he was definitely like worse on defense. This year he was a lot better. Pretty much he was playing with a lot of confidence. He was firing, and that's a big plus. And because when Luke fires, he's a pretty efficient player. And nevertheless, he's definitely, not the most athletic player, but he's definitely really helpful if you definitely could definitely use, some 3-point shooting. And then Justice Winslow, um, his offense, like in terms of scoring and all the stuff is pretty much like it's kind of lacking, but he did get some rebounds and he played pretty good defense. Of course, however, there are players who would, there are some players that I would rather see play over than Justice Winslow, but nevertheless, we won the game, and Justice Winslow, he did play really good defense, so that's that. That's that's a big plus because we would love to see anyone in the Clippers uniform do good. And then Isaiah Hartenstein, um, he was a pretty solid player, like nothing too special, but you can't really go too wrong with Isaiah Hartenstein. And then Eric Bledsoe. Um, Eric Bledsoe, like, he did make some turnovers, but at the same time, though, he actually did somewhat solid, in my opinion. He did help, make our offense a bit quicker, if I had to say. But however, like I said, sometimes, like, there is players that, at moments I'll be willing to play over players like Bledsoe or Winslow, but again, Bledsoe actually made some threes. He definitely improved a lot in his 3-point shooting compared to the first 2 months, because the first 2 months, like, he was pretty horrendous from the beyond the arc, but he did improve, and we and that's a pretty good thing. And then pretty much, what else could I pretty much talk about? And then we could talk about some of the Orlando Magic players. They got Franz Wagner, which is low key. He's a he's a pretty darn good player for the Orlando Magics, like a Gordon Hayward plus athleticism. And then got Mo Bamba, who I personally would mess with, and I would be down for him to become a Clipper, but but who knows? We'll see what will he do during free agency. He definitely brought some energy. Really long, pretty big, really good defender, pretty mobile. Um, which is a pretty good big, to say the least. Cole Anthony, I mess with Cole Anthony. He's been, killing it this season, but this game he didn't really do too much. He was, I'm not. I should say he didn't do too much. He did, pretty good, I guess. He went 5 for 11, 16 points, did his thing, and then I'm gonna talk about my boy Jay Scrub because he basically played some garbage time, but I'll tell you this: he's a pretty damn good player. He pretty much didn't get the opportunity to fire up a field goal because he pretty much only played like 1 minute and 30 seconds, but he showed a lot of flashes of being a really great player, and he definitely is, when you let him loose and when you give him a green light, he could definitely has his superstar potential in my personal biased opinion. But but as of tonight, he showed one thing he showed is a lot of hustle and pretty good defense. So so that's pretty much just that. And then yeah, that should pretty much wrap up this video. Let me know on what you think about the win against the Orlando Magic. And yeah, pretty fantastic win. And as we all know, go Clippers and Clip Nation all the way. Let's get it.